So we have done till here. To support our study, we have gone in detail with respect to Mahindra and Mahindra case. So we are discussing Mahindra and Mahindra. I'm not going to tell the whole story because we have done one full session for Mahindra and Mahindra, so I'm not going to go in detail. But I just want to highlight about the three DOs. Okay, remember the three DOs? One was the two siblings, JC, that is Jagdish Chand Mahindra, and another one KC, that is Kailash Chand Mahindra. Along with them, one more person were there, and he's from Pakistan. Okay, Muhammad. Because of this 1947 India partition, so this person has to go away from this business, and these two people continue the business. If you go for the background of this person, J.C. Chandra, that is Jagdish Chandra, he was a king for Pakistan almost like 17 or something. So they started this company at 1945, and soon after the company was started, 1951, I remember, Jagadish Chandra passed away, and this person, Kailash Chandra, had his son, three sons, I think, Harish Chandra, Keshav Chandra, and one more Suresh or Vinod Chandra. Suresh Chandra, okay, Suresh Chandra. Uh, Harish Chandra had his son Anand Mahendra. So our current, so when we talk about Mahendra, we are talking about Anand Mahendra nowadays. Okay. So Anand Mahendra. Why I say this is the second DO is actually second DO is this person along these two are the second DOs. But Harish Chandra is not so much involved, which means Keshav Chandra and Anand Mahendra's roles are very big, which means they both, as uncle and nephew relationship, they both associated for almost 46 years. And this person, Keshav Chandra, just passed away some 2002 or something. Okay. So he's the current hero of Mahindra and Mahindra, and almost he's the current hero of India now. Okay. So he receives many award like Good Entrepreneur of the Year, Best Entrepreneur of the Year, so and so. Okay. So probably you came to know this YouTube short. What place is that? Yenga short. Okay, இதெல்லாம் நல்லா பாக்குறீங்க. You got the short. This person whom we are talking about. Actually, we are going to talk about Mahindra and Mahindra only, but to know more about Mahindra and Mahindra, we need to have a living person over there. Okay, so that living person and our hero is here, Anand Mahindra. Okay, so Anand Mahindra is almost like 70 or 72 years old, I think, and he's so fit and he goes cycling and all, and he's so active in social media. Okay, and he says that focus on quality, not on quantity. With respect to the number of hours you work, don't focus on number of hours you work. You focus on etc. etc. Okay. So far, I just think we have discussed these things. Okay, I'm not going in detail. And with this start, we went for these four topics. 8.1. What do you mean by strategy? What do you mean by strategic management? How the term strategy is defined, and so on. Then, when we define the term strategy, can you just remember the highlighted points? Strategy is nothing but a planning. Planning can be long term and short term. But when we say planning, we are discussing about long term planning because when we say it's a strategy, it's a long term planning only here. Then we have to adopt the environment. So environment analysis has to be done. And if you go for the nature of environment, we have like it's dynamic in nature and we have micro. If you go for classification, we have micro or macro, or we can call it as internal environment or external environment. Okay. Can you help me with the third point, please? Yes. What are the resources I have? I have to mobilize those resources. Okay, because I'm not going to. I have only little amount of money. I can go for borrowing. Already, I cannot go for issuing any shares, or I cannot go for issuing debentures, or I cannot borrow loan. This is the capital you have. This is whether it's equity capital or debt capital. This is the amount you have in hand. With the help of amount, how can you expand your business, or how can you make yourself sustain in the business? So you think about this. Else, if you say only these amount or these employees I have in hand, so you'll be just thinking how far I can grow my business with the employee base which I have. Probably I need to train them. So resource mobilization is not only about the scarce resource, Okay, the resource is very scarce. Let me utilize it before it goes away. It's not that way. Scarce, not only scarce, it's also about effective utilization of the resources. So, resource mobilization. Next point, please. Yes. So when we talk about strategy, we are very clear it's not planning. So we are talking about gaining competitive advantage. So we need to have a unique thing. Okay, what is unique in me so that I'm gaining advantage in this competitive field, competitive environment. So gaining competitive advantage, and not only for sustaining on the competition, even to sustain in the business, I have to do it. So that's about sustainability. Or we can use another word, retaining myself in the business. Sustaining is retaining myself in the business. Okay. Yes. Yes. I need to align the strategy which I'm going to define here. I'm going to align with my vision, mission, goals, and objectives. Vision is what I'll be in the future. Mission is how I reach to the future. Goals and objectives are short term and long term defined. Colloquially, we just use it as short term and long term. Along with that, we'll have to align our strategy so that we improvise. Okay. So this is about 8.2. 8.3. What are the objectives of strategic management? Why we have to talk about the strategic management? And 8.4, organizational genomics, which means it's talking about the genes. Okay. Each and every person in my organization will be different and how I'm going to make it work. So we were defining this organization culture and so on. Can you just have a fast glance? Can you please turn over the pages and have a fast glance? So almost it's running for 30 pages. Just have a heading alone, okay? Because I find a few students new today. So that's why I just so I'm planning to cover these three topics for today. 8.5. Uh, so far, we were discussing in the definition alignment with vision, goals, and objectives. But when we go for this 8.5, it says you have to align along with the individual level objectives, which means each and every person together, we are talking about human beings, individuals. Each and every person together makes the whole company. Okay. If you talk about one main resource of my company, it will be the employees. Okay. So we need to know what are their goals in their life, what are their objectives, and along with that, we'll align so that our organization goal is achieved. So this is how we are going to discuss for 8.5. And we need to have a scorecard. See, we need to know how far we are implementing this one. We need to know how far we have to take care of. We have to take control of the other things, what is happening around us. So we are going to maintain a card called as balanced scorecard. So these are all quite famous content. And 8.7 will be economic value addition, where driven responsibility accounting, which means how the value is created and who is responsible for this. Accounting means who's responsible. Okay. Before going for the content directly, let me go for Mahendra's case. Okay, what I thought is, again, if you go for just line by line, I will feel boring. I don't know whether you feel boring or not. I'm going to feel bored. So I thought I can directly go for Mahendra and Mahendra case a bit. Okay. See, our case is Mahendra and Mahendra. If we need, we'll jump there and here. Okay. So we need not jump more so that we'll fix to Mahendra and Mahendra for this thing. So I just asked the AI mode alignment with individual level objectives and organizational objective. How does Mahindra and Mahindra manage? So it has given a summary. I'm not going to discuss the whole summary, just have a quick glance like. So it says it employs a multifaceted approach to align individual objectives with its broader organization goals. Please try to understand when we talk about organization goals, we clearly say that business is to make profit. Okay. But it's not only accounting angle. Again, did you watch that Mahendra Rice YouTube video? Balance sheet on the numbers are not only for balance sheet. Okay, you remember that video? I shared in the group. We don't remember. Okay, no issue. I'll just recollect that again. So when we talk about business is not just making profit, not just making showing in numbers, values in numbers. It's apart from that, we have many things. Okay, so probably uh, customers buy my product, they should get satisfied. Employees are there in my organization, they should feel satisfied, and not only that, they should develop themselves. It's internal development should be there. Okay, so when we talk about organization goals, what is the organization goal? Is that matching with individual goal? It's a question mark. Definitely, 99% it will not match. We have to make it match. Probably, if I ask you personally, okay, just think you're not doing CA, CMA, or CS. You're just working for an organization as an employee. What will be your expectation? Probably just you have joined new. You feel like I need to learn many things. I need to learn or I need to understand many things. Or at one point of time, you may be feeling that I should be given responsibility so I can handle or take care of a project independently. So you will have small, small goals and all that will be achieved. Okay. And if you please check, all these goals are not organization goals, it's your goals. What organization thinks is it picks X. What X thinks? X talks about only salary. What X thinks is okay, if I get salary, because ultimately I have to feed my family, right? So ultimately I need to earn money. So if X feels like getting money, such a way it will be designed for X. There is one why, not worried about money. He's very comfortable with the salary, the day to day thing of what he earns, but he feels like I should get promoted. Which means what? My skills should properly utilized by the organization. Yes, we take that type of a thing. So we take all the individual goals, summation of all this will be considered as organization goals. Now the problem is individual goals put together is not the organization goals. What are the organization's goal that has to be aligned along with the individuals? So how it's going to align? So that's about Mahindra's and Mahindra strategy. It's using a balanced forecast system. That's our next topic, right? Balanced forecast system. Okay, over here. And how it does is it sets a goal. How it sets a goal means individual key result areas will be defined. Key result areas, KREs. Okay. Else we'll be designing this as the critical areas, CRE or KRE. You can use both the words. Okay. So individual key results area will be considered and separate goal will be set for them so that it's utilized for organization strategy. Then regular review is done and feedback and development is done. And not only that, strong communication and transparency is done. I'm just getting the headings alone. I'm not going to discuss all these. Okay. Emphasis on intrinsic motivation and engagement, how you're engaging your team and how you're motivating your team, and how about the career planning. So at one point of time, you may be feeling, I'm working here in this organization for 5 years. There is no such growth happen in my life. So why don't I jump to another organization? So either I may not be getting good salary or I may not be getting the expected salary, or you may be feeling that my skill is not feeded properly, or you may be feeling that you're getting bored because you're not given different skills. For some persons, same work if you give, they'll do it perfectly. If you give new work, they'll not do it. For some person, you have to give new works. Then only they'll do it. So you have to develop properly the career planning for them also. Career planning is not for the organization, but for their individual goals. Okay, recognize and rewarding achievements. So these are also focused. Okay. So you can just have this one. See, they utilize a 70-20-10 approach. Only this point I want to discuss. 70-20 and 10 approach. What's the 70-20 and 10 approaches? The 70% is your job experience. Okay, this is applied not only in Mahindra, in all the way. So it's called a 70-20 rule. 10 principle or 10 rule. If you say 70% of your job experience, 20% you learn from other team members. It's teamwork. Okay. I may be knowing something, you may be knowing something. We create a synergy. You might have heard of this word synergy. I work for 5 hours for an individual work. You work for 3 hours for an individual work. If we both join together, it's not 8 hours. Okay, probably how much it may be. We may be finishing the work in 6 hours. If the hours are reduced, the job is done effectively. So this is what I call a synergy effect. This synergy effect has to happen. Probably it will happen if worked properly. Has to happen in teamwork. So 20% of this you'll get it from teamwork. I will share my knowledge, you will share your knowledge to me so that we learn something new. So this is how done. And 10% obviously you have to go for getting all the controls and other things. So this is what you call as 70-20 and 10 approach. This has been followed by Mahindra. So you just don't think that we are just studying some heading and we are just applying in strategic management concept. No, each and everything are handled in each and every organization. Probably if you take any other case, if you talk about Ravens, they'll be handling in a different way. If you talk about Tata, they'll be handling in a different way. Each and every organization will be handling in a different way. Our case is Mahindra and Mahindra, so I stuck with this. Okay. So shall I take over? Let me go for the content. 8.5, alignment with individual level objectives and organizational objective. Actually, when we talk about management, we have to talk about this person. He's called as a management guru, called as Peter Drucker. So it's about management of objectives. When we talk about personal objective means we are talking about each and every person's individual objective, which means you collect all the objectives of the individual person and you sum all these one so that you will get the organizational objectives. But remember, all the individual objective is not the organizational objective. Organizational objective and individual has to be properly aligned in such a way. Okay. So why it is important? Obviously, you have to properly communicate to the employees. You see, you cannot say that only this was important or that one important. Clearly, you have to communicate. This is the thing we are expecting from you, and what you also expect, you can just share. Okay. Definitely, the role of manager is very hyper. If you go for fixing the level of goals, how many goals you can fix? They say it's general 5 to 7 goals you can fix. Okay, which means you fix some target, you fix some promotion line or whatever it is. So usually it's 5 to 7, but what they say is 2 to 3 is enough. Don't fix too much. If you fix too much, it will not be goal oriented. It look like this is my target today, I finish it and go. It's not like day to day target. It's about how I'm going to shine in 2 years or 3 years later period. Okay. So how it is done? You give a mix of activity. Probably it may be related to number of sales calls per week and outcome based measures. Probably what's the closed sales, everything will be done. Okay. So this has to be taken. These are all examples only, general concepts only. And when you go for the team level, yes, more objectives will be added because it's a team working in 20 or in a team of 50. You cannot just say 2 or 3 goals or 5 to 7 goals. You have to give them more team effort so that they'll get maximized. And when you go for this individual objective to organizational objective, there will be in between called as team objectives. Not discussed in our syllabus, but it usually happens. When we say about the 70, 20, and 10 rule, usually it happens. When we say team level means, usually we talk about team objectives. So individual objective is pushed to team objective is pushed to objective organizational objective. So if you have it as an equation, summation of all the individual objectives will give the team objectives. There may be team one, there may be team two, there may be team three, and so on, depending on their project and other things. All this team objective, if you pool together, you'll get as organization objective. Okay. So when we talk about the goal, ultimately the goal here will be how the individuals and the team will be working so that we get the enough quantity and quality of effort. It's not individual working. Individual put together, teamwork. Okay. What can be the goals? That is the nature of goals. Frequent discussion, because you're talking about team, okay, team efforts. Frequent discussion should be there. How far they're ambitious in work. Probably we have to go for some proper measurement. So how many target, how many calls he have finished and so on. Okay. So specific metrics and milestones will be there, and obviously transparency should be there. Okay. If A, B, and C are put together and they are working, and if they go for discussion and A is not clearly disclosing all the things, then what happens to C's knowledge and B's knowledge? Obviously they'll not know how to proceed. Okay. One small work will be split as three and given to three persons. So if this person is not clearly disclosing, if it is by mistake, that's different, but you cannot call here something as mistake. We say whether it's transparent or not. Transparent means you have to disclose everything. Okay. So then only then B and C will be knowing or aware of the situation, aware of the status, then they can proceed accordingly. So if they are not properly disclosing or if they are trying to hide anything, then A is not a suitable person here. And there will be some persons that teamwork will not be comfortable for them. Okay. So I met one person where in during my employment days, so he was telling that I cannot join for teamwork. So one assignment was given to me to work on GST. Okay, GST was new during that period. So I'm talking about 2019. Okay, GST was new to that period. So we have to go the act and we have to refer all the provisions. So uh, along with me, two more persons were called for the project for the assignment. One did not at all join, but she's very clever. Okay, very clever in the sense that if you give her 10 questions, first like she will clearly highlight all the points. She's very clever, but this teamwork is not matching for her. If teamwork is not matching for one particular person, even though she is a genius or she is very clever in that content, is not going to be helpful for the organization. Okay, so what happens is this transparency matters. Probably sometimes we say this is how far ethical, right? So one may be not interested in sharing the knowledge also. They think why I need to share my knowledge. That's a problem. Okay. Let me go for employee objectives. So obviously, when we talk about employee, we are talking about the team and the members of the team. So we just measure the progress and how far the performance is being done. Okay. And also you better understand the roles and also you go for how can you achieve the personal goals along with the organizational goals. You know to write the effective objectives which can help them. You clearly identify which objectives will be helpful and which objective will not be helpful. Okay. And you give a target, how far it can be done. So it's depending on the employee's job performance. What will be the objective set? That is the period. Like, okay, so it's given over here. Period. How it will be set by the employees means quarterly you have to prove this one. You have to show this one, or biannually or annually. And sometimes it goes monthly also. Okay. Monthly means it will go individual to individual. Definitely, it's helping the employee. Because the employee will be knowing, okay, this is my responsibility. I'll just take care of. Okay, company will be having big goals, but my goal is simple. This quarter I have to achieve this one. Okay, and also we'll go for a periodic review. How far the employee is improving himself. Okay, if he's not improving, then we need to train him properly. It's not because he doesn't know. He's not trained in such a way. So as we were discussing the 70, 20, and 10 principle, right? This control, I said, this control is about this review. Okay, which means he has to give proper training. He doesn't know how to move that job. He'll be clever and he'll be genius. He'll be knowing everything in detail because he has 70% job experience, 20% team effort. Only thing he doesn't know how to do it. So use a proper training so he can be aware how to move this one. He can manage. Okay. How the effective objectives could be done by a smart work. So everybody we say that don't do hard work, go for a smart work. So this is a smart work here. Smart work means be more specific, S measurable. You have to measure how far you have just come across. Please check when you fix up the goals, it should be attainable. You just motivate a person and you know very well know that person is not capable at all, then how can he attain it? So probably he'll be losing his mind. Instead of motivated, he loses his mind. So please check whether it can be attainable by him. Then it should be relevant. It should be relevant to his job. Probably because here we are going in alignment to the organization goals, it should be aligned with organizational goals and should be time based. Fix a time. Give a time period and let him do within that time period. Because if you give some long time, most of the time what we say here is give some small amount of period so that the employee should take up the pressure. Okay, he should not work in a relaxed manner. It's not just he's doing some training or no, it's not such a way. Actually, we are paying for them. Each and everybody matters here. See, it's the capital which we have borrowed from the investor, we have issued the shares, and because of that money only we are paying. Because of that money only we're doing business. And without that business, we cannot pay for the employees also. Okay, so probably if you go for using the accounting term and financial management, we'll be using this term called as working. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you talk about this working capital, how much you're going to pay for the employee so that he's sustaining in his job and he has to give it back in some other way. We are giving money, he has to. You cannot say this is the bossism I'm talking. No, I'm a boss, you do my work. It's not that way. It is your job, do it. And that's why we are paying. So this is how it is being done. Okay. So smart work, so specific, you have to give the exact result. What we need from you. You give a clear objective. See, I say you give the exact result. You may be asking me, tell me first what I have to do. Which means if fix the objective, you fix the job clearly, then only it come to know what he has to do. So only a clear objective will optimize his productivity and also his efficiency. Okay, how far he can effectively do. Yes, go for measurable. You just measure how far he is successful. So that probably if you go for quarterly by quarterly, first quarter, he has improved his target, probably not improved. He has shown the target with the 10,000 points. So we are giving some points like grading system depending on the number of calls he does or number of pieces he manufactures. Second quarter, he shows 10,000 and 100. Yes, there is an improvement of 100. But we'll not say it's 100, we'll say it's percentage. Percentage means it's very less percentage. Usually what we say is, what we in the sense that organization thinks is, at least he should show 10% improvement. For this 10,000, he has just improved only 100 units productivity means is not even 10%. So it's not a good progress. Which means you have to do in an effective way. Which means you have to change the methodology. Okay, it's not only his problem, right? It's the organization problem. Okay, and again you cannot give time so that let us check for another quarter. No, it's another quarter is 3 months, and one more 3 months, this full year is over. Okay. And most of the time, big companies, what has happens, we have to go for quarterly by quarterly result producing. Okay. To the SEBI and other things, authorities, we need to give the quarterly filings. Quarterly balance sheet has to be produced. Okay, so many things happen. And yes, obviously, it has to be attainable. It should not be something bogus. If I give this target to you, you have to sense that you should not ask a question whether I'm capable. Okay. It should give a sense that you should feel, yes, this job is given to me, I can do it. Okay, I'm not advising, I'm describing the topic. Okay. So you should feel ambitious, which means, okay, this job is given, I can definitely do it, I will do it. And it should be challenging also. So challenging means it should be done. Probably we cannot expect 100% result, but at least some improvement will be there. So if this is attainable, then it will become measurable properly. So this is not a normal lines. I'm not going line by line, and it should be relevant. Okay, what's the company's goal? What's the organization goal? Please try to match with that. Okay, it's not individual goals you are planning to improve. It's organization goals you are planning to improve. So you just align with that. And it should be time based. You fix the time. You fix the deadline. If the deadline is not fixed, then you are not working effectively. You cannot give a whole year for him to work. If it's a new employee, then usually we give this probation period or what we call this as training period. That 3 months salary will be given. He'll not be given a new job or 5 months or 6 months. Okay, so this is all happening. Is importance if you clarify the responsibility. If you go for a smart work, yes, we give this job to him and he will clarify his responsibility. And obviously, it will be helpful for the employees to develop the skills so they'll move forward. Okay, we can go for fixing more and more goals so that will be attained. Not only smart work is needed, also fast work is needed. So, what is this fast work? Fast is not doing fast, that's different. Fast is frequently discussed, you should be. So, what are the things we need to do? You should be ambitious, okay, and S is specific, and T is transfer. Okay, so let me go for fast, frequently discussed, which means you give the target for quarterly. Okay, that's enough. No, you just go for a weekly discussion to check how far he's doing it. So probably if you wait for that quarter to come over, to come to an end, you cannot wait for another quarter. If we do this frequent discussion like every day, I don't know how far is possible, but in IT industry, everyday meeting is held. Everyday meeting is held to know the progress. Okay, and most of the project, what it happens is one small unit of work is done by 10 people, and all the 10 people should assemble at the end of the day, at the end of the day or the next day morning, so that they'll continue from there. Okay, if I give you some 100 entries, okay, to be done, let me go for accounting transaction, 100 entries, and I divide alphabetical wise or date wise. I say first 10 entries by A, next 10 entries by B, next 10 entries by C. Okay, if all the 100 entries are done, only I can go for next process. Okay. If we say that if A has finished, B has finished, C has not finished, which means on overall only 80 entries has finished, then how can I proceed for next one? Okay, immediately the other employees may be saying, probably among the 10 employees, 8 has finished, 2 has not finished. Okay, let them take rest. No. Remaining 20 entries will be shared immediately among the team members and they'll be finished. Why this 2 has not finished? Now it comes the role of the manager. Why this 2 has not finished? They are the new joiners, just now they are joined. Okay, reasonable. They're new to the software. Yes, reasonable. Yes, obviously, right? We may be knowing the content. We might have worked for it years and years. But the problem is because of the tech is developing, we are new to the technology. Yes, that may be a reason. Okay, if you're new to the technology, we'll give some time period so that the learn it come back. So instead of giving 100 entries for 10 persons, we give 180 for 8 persons because 8 persons are experts in this. So we discuss or decide in such a way, this is what we need because we need to take immediate steps. We need to go for control. So we have to frequently discuss. Okay. So allocate resources accordingly. So that's what I'm telling you. Whether I allocate 8 persons or 10 persons. Okay, you decide it, whether it's 8 or 10 data. Okay. And we prioritize the initiatives, which has to be given. I may be having 5 projects in my hand, but which project has to be prioritized, which means which project has to be done first. Okay, that's very important project. I'm going to do it first. Or the small amount of work needed. Probably if I spend some 2 or 3 days, that project will be done. Go for a tailor example. Okay. If you go and meet a tailor, probably you want to give a shirt for to be stitched or kurta to be stitched. If you give some big job like bridal dresses, okay, whether for men or women, so which one he's going to take more time for bridal? Definitely, I believe that 1 month or 40 days he's going to take. Okay, whether it's bride for bride, groom or for bride. Okay, for shirt, probably if he's very known tailor of yours, probably in another half an hour, 1 hour, he'll give you a shirt. Okay, now for which you're going to give importance? For the shirt or the bride dress? It depends on. Okay, you may be thinking just this one shirt, but I'll be getting thousands and thousands of shirt. But bride dress I have to give it in 40 days. So you give preference over it. It depends. Okay. So you need to prioritize which is your work and which you have to do it. And you have to provide feedback because when you go for the frequent discussion, you just ask them what you're doing and just leave the call. No, that's not sufficient. You have to tell them what you have done and what is your progress because those words they need. So this is the definition of this frequently asked. What is the advantages? Is it will give you guidance on what are the important decisions you have to take. And obviously the employees will remain focused. So they'll not be having a clear-cut idea of what is their progress. Now they clearly know it. Okay, we are progressing this way. So these are the things we have to prioritize and everything will be okay. And probably you can link the performance because the feedback is given. So you can fix to your goals and can link it and it evaluates the progress. Right? Shall I take over? Next is ambitious. So being ambitious could be challenging or ambitious, but not impossible to achieve. So it should be possible for them to achieve. Immediately, if I give you a job, it's not in this way. Because you are already an operator. Okay, so this question should not raise to the employee's mindset. So if this question is being raised to the employee's mindset, then he is not in this area. He's not a capable person. Or else what you have to do is your team is not properly giving training. So that's about the 70, 20, and 10 approach. He's because you thought he's capable. The HR manager thought he's capable. That's why he's appointed. Okay. So 70% and 20% over. What about the 10%? Is he given proper training to do the job? Which means you have to make him ambitious. Training means not the classroom setup or you're making them to learn the software or new app. Not that way. Motivating is also a training. Okay, asking them to get progress mentally is also a training. Okay. In most of the organizations, what they do is probably you can check with Mahindra and Mahindra also. They have this club and all. Okay, if the job is very heavy, they can like half an hour or 1 hour. They can go to the club. They can play chess. They can play what small activities, not like cricket or basketball. That's a separate thing also over there. So there will be a small hall where a cannon will be provided and what is this one? Chess will be provided. You can play small games. Okay, without much strain with your body, you can refresh yourself and you can come back to work. It's there. Okay. So obviously, advantages motivates performance of individuals and teams also helps in minimizing the risk. Yes, please highlight minimization of the risk and focus on the innovative ways. Yeah, this is also a helpful one because they will be able to think how far they can take over the innovative ways. Let me go for the third one. Specific. It should be translated. Yes, please highlight this word. It should be translated because you may be expecting this as phrase quotes first. Okay, it should be translated into specific metrics because we need to know what we are going to achieve. Okay. Yes, clearly mentions what the employee is expected to deliver, so you know what to achieve. And easy identification of deviation. So if I'm not getting this one, I'm getting deviated. So how I can come back to my own path. Okay. Offers quick process correction also, so you can easily correct it and enhances performance of individuals. Let me go for transparent case. Goals and achievements should be made public. Yeah, you should be given in public. You should not like one-to-one job. If you go for a teamwork, you have to make it public. And obviously, you have to use your peer pressure. So you have to give a target. Probably many companies what they do is even though quarterly or biannual goals are given, targets are given, each and every month best employee of the month awards being given. Probably awards will they're not giving some cash award or some promotion and all. They'll be having a notice board where this photo will be this of a photo will be pasted and they will get encouraged. So this is what happening. So it's helpful. And it will showcase the activities and all. Okay. So understand the agenda. Yeah, this is very beautiful. You can understand what is actually happening because it's not my job or not, it's the teamwork. So each and every person in the team are working on that. So they are what they are doing and what myself I'm doing. Okay, and identify the strategies also whether it's aligned or not aligned. If it's not aligned, you have to align it. Okay, so this is about the fast work. Just go to this one. Performance objectives. So as we were discussing Mahendra's and Mahendra's case now, see the last para. Is this big enough for you to read? The last para, this one, in essence. Can you just have a fast reading? See, the very first line is integrating a performance management system. Not only in Mahindra, in all the companies they do. All the because it's about human beings you're talking. It's not about missions. If it is about mission, I'll just throw off the mission and I get a new one. If the mission is not working or if the mission is not aligning with my strategy, then I'm not going to buy it. But this is not happening with the humans. Okay, some will be very ethical, some may not be liking to work under a boss or something like that. It's problem. So Mahindra integrates a performance management system with a focus on goal alignment, clear communication, fostering intrinsic motivation, continuous learning and development, which is what we call as training, and recognizing contributions to effectively align individual efforts with the company's overall objectives. Okay, so what do you mean by performance objective? Please remember, if you just have this heading performance objective, it is meant for employees, not for the company. Okay, because we are discussing here about the heading is alignment of individuals and organization goals. So we are talking about employees. So why we said that? Because we need to know what is their thing and what is ours, and how we are going to understand and who's going to be made responsible for this. Okay, so obviously it has to be performance based. So we'll just go for a small example. If you talk about productivity in the banking service sector, how that has been met. The number of clients that a service consultant has assisted. So depending on his experience, you can see. Okay, so probably if you go for quality and efficiency, you check how far the work is being. This is about Mahindra and Mahindra, right? Focus on quality, not on quantity. Okay. So you can just, I'm not going word by word, but just have a look. Okay. So how fast the worker can perform. Education and self-development cases, if you go for, you can just work as how we are bringing continuous growth. Because when you go for education industry and all, education industry or education means you have to give awareness. So I may not be working in the same state. I may be developing and developing. And if my team members are not aware of the concept what we are doing, then it's not going to help. Okay. So this is one case. And how it is being measured differs company to company. Okay. And different weightings also will be given. So depending on job nature and so one can go through. Role of employees. So general line, they are the integral part of the organization. So they must prepare them to meet the individual goals by enhancing knowledge and building skills. So we are aligning individual goals to organization goals. So yeah, I want to highlight this one. Probably you may expect this as a quotes line. On non-alignment, employee motivation will deteriorate after some time. So because they'll not be helping or they'll not be getting coordinated with the organization goals, so it will not be helpful at all. Okay. Then yeah, let me go for this. Importance or reasons of alignment. In case if you have a question, if there is no alignment, what will happen in the future? If there is a proper alignment of organizations and individual goals, then definitely the employees will be motivated. Okay, you just list all the points related to smart and fast, smart work and fast work. So obviously, employees will get motivated. You give a job, we have a frequent discussion, fast effort. We have a frequent discussion with the employee. Then the employee will be, if I'm a team leader, I'm motivating the employee. Definitely, the employee will be working in a better way. So in the next meeting, I can get something good from. Okay, so this employee's motivator will be sustained if it is properly aligned. Then you prioritize the task and responsibility, which has to be done first because the employee may not be knowing. You have to give them which one has to be performed first. Okay, so you just prioritize the task and responsibility. Which job to be given to whom and which person can do which job. Okay, this has to be done. And obviously, you go for teamwork. So, team cohesiveness and team collaboration. So, individuals can understand what are their personal goals and how they are going to relate to the organization goals. Okay. So, this is about so far while discussing about this 8.5 on alignment and how we are going to go for measuring the progress and all, we are going to take the help of this concept called as balanced scorecard. Okay, it's just but a card like okay, where you take a small card and you get all the performance measures. Actually, when you talk about strategy, it has to align with mission, vision, and goals and objectives. So it's a common heading aligned with vision and strategy. Actually, we have to look on to four perspectives. One is financial side. One is internal business process. So how it is being done? What is the business process being done? And one is customer perspective. And one is you have to improve, right? You cannot stay in the same place. You have to improvise. So I'm saying here, you in the sense for organizations role, okay, and the learning and growth. Under all the four perspective, see this is a card. We'll be entering the measures, the grading and all. Okay. Under all the four perspective, we'll be having what is the objective, how are you going to measure this one? what is the target, and what initiative you're going to take for each and everything. See, for even for customer, objective, measures, target, initiative. For all the four perspectives, you'll have all the four angles. So in four angles, we'll discuss each and every perspective. So one is objective, one is measurable, target, and initiatives. Okay. This balanced scorecard is given by these two persons called as Robert S. Kaplan and David P. Nota. So it's quite important in the sense like when you go for strategic management and all, you need to understand this one. Probably in future, if you're going to work for a company and if you belong to a management team, then you need to definitely work on this. Or if you're going to become a CEO of any organization, definitely you're going to put all these concepts in your study. That is organization school. So definitely we'll be using this as a management system, strategic management system. Probably can you find any other picture? This is there any other picture? I don't know whether I have over here. Yeah, see the same content but defined in a different angle. So for perspective, right? Financial side, customer side, internal business perspective, and learning and growth. This is like a strategy map. When we discuss, we have to go in a different two angles of strategy. One is productivity and one is growth strategy. We are beginning with financial perspective, which means because of the shareholders' money, because of the investors' amount, our business is there. Okay. Incorporated association, right? Company is nothing but an incorporated person. So we need to discuss about the shareholders' value, not short term, but long term. Probably you may be associated with my business, probably for short term period, for 3 months or 6 months, maybe for 2 years or 5 years. But we are not thinking about this. We are aligning with vision. Vision means what? Long term. What will be in the future? So probably that may be for another 10 years or 20 years. How you can do this? Probably improve your cost structure. I'm not going in detail because if I talk about improving the cost structure, I need to teach you costing. That's not my role today. Okay. Increase asset utilization. Please try to link this word resource mobilization. Resources, employees, persons, what materials, and even my asset. Okay, that's my resource. Expense customer value. If you talk about these four things, you're discussing in financial perspective. If you go for the customer's point of view, what the customer is saying, what's the price of this product? Okay. If I give 10 rupees, is a product worth for 10 rupees? Quality. Okay, I'm ready to pay 100 rupees also. But is that worth for 100 rupees? I give a question mark. Okay. Another one important thing. Will it be available? This seems to be a new company. He's available today. Will it be available tomorrow? Don't know. I use it for today. If he's not available tomorrow, then am I going to search for a new brand or new product or a similar product with a different company? Again, that's a big task for me. So what I do, I don't try this new product. So availability will be question. Okay. And selection. I need to check whether this is good or that is. I'm going to buy a table. Whether steel table is good or wooden table is good. So why this table we have in Singer Academy, this steel is actually planned and we ordered and we made it. The one important thing is actually if you scratch, if you write any pen work and all, we can easily clean it. That's the major thing. Okay. Okay, so you get the scene. What else I can discuss then? Functionality. What's the purpose I'm using this one? Okay. See, how many are buying mobile phones just for showing a good look? No, it's not the thing. It becomes a basic necessity, like right. So, what's the function behind it? Okay, what type of service it will provide, and what type of sometimes we go like entering into MOU and all, and what's the brand's name? These are all whose perspective, customer perspective, but obviously organization has to come for the customer perspective. Remember, customer is not the individual, may not be an individual. Company may be a customer also for another company. Okay. If my product is an intermediate product, so another customer will be a company itself. It's not individual. Okay. Internal perspective, so completely inside the business process. One side we'll talk about operations management. How about the supply process handled? How are the production process handled? How about the distribution, logistics size handled? Okay. And how the risk will be managed. If you talk about the customer, see, customer management is also one of the process of the business only, right? So if you talk about customer management, we'll talk about selection, acquisition, how you're going to retain the customer, what is your growth. Your customer has to, more customers has to join. Okay. Selection of means depending on the product, the customers will be selected. Say I'm just planning for introducing a new course. Which course can I introduce? I will introduce a course which is related to CA, CMA or CSO. If I introduce any course related to NEET or JEE, that's not going to be helpful. Okay. Probably if I tell you we are introducing a new course for JEE, that may be different division of Singar Academy. That's different. But I cannot relate directly to you. Probably I need to find new students base, new customer base. So the selection is important. Probably if you talk about this in this strategy, we'll be saying whether my business will be diversified business or concentric business. Okay. And I need to acquire or retain and I have to go for growth also. If you talk about innovation process, what is the opportunity available outside? Whether my R&D is putting proper efforts on this, because I need to do proper research and I have to develop product accordingly so that my customers will be satisfied. So that's the innovative way. And I had to design, not only just do all this R&D work and keep it. I have to design, I have to develop, and I have to launch it. Like usually, I give this example. You know this what cameras is Konica. Ah, yes, Kodak. Thank you for that. Kodak. You know that's Kodak cameras and Kodak reels that round like and it will be like reels. Nowadays we have just a click and you can directly take from a mobile phone also. Those days we have in one complete film roll we'll be having like 36 photos you can take. 36 or if you're lucky enough you can take 37. Nowadays it's not there. Okay. Actually, Kodak introduced or they did this R&D work and they found this means what? In an innovative way, they brought us product where it will have like a big toaster size camera. Okay, I think it is like some 1920s or something like that. I think I don't remember the exact year. It will be like a big toaster size where you can click the picture and you'll get it immediately. You may be feeling what is new with that. Nowadays it's new. Nowadays it's not new. In those days what you have to do is you have to take the photos, you have to give it to the photo shop, and you have to, they'll be just cleaning and all, they'll be doing all this darkroom process and they'll be giving you as photos. It will take some 4 or 5 days. But they found this camera where you just click it and you get it as a picture. Okay. Just take and you can click the picture direct. Okay. This was like a toaster size. You can find it and you can search in Google. This will be like a toaster size. But actually, they did not launch this product. You know why? See, I'm putting such a big effort. I'm invested so much of money in R&D. I'm trying to bring a new product, and definitely it's going to be a success. Why did not launch the product? Because if this product is launched, what will happen to this Kodak reel film roll that will be going away? And they are doing this for many years, and it's a main profit making business. It's because they have spent so much in R&D, they cannot do it. And I believe it's like 12 or 13 years, they did not launch the product. After 12 or 13 years only, they launched. They were just keeping as it is. They did not produce more. They did not launch it. After 12 or 13 years only, they launched it. See, just not designing or developing. The important thing goes with launching also. If you're not launching, then it's gone. We were discussing about Mahindra and Mahindra digital marketing strategy. You remember? They'll be posting all the pictures first. All the pictures will be circulated, all the human beings and all the who are not like cars and all. After that, only the product will be launched. The sample car will be brought to the market. Okay, showroom. Regulatory and social process, yes, is very, very important. You might be thinking in a different way, but law says in a different way. So environmental authorities are there, pollution related and safety and health measures has to be taken, labor laws and employment, payment of bonus, payment of gratuity, etc., and community. So probably if you go for Royal Enfield, there is a separate community for Royal Enfield where they every weekend they go for biking. Okay, they go for a long drive. Okay, that's a team work. There's a team separately for that. So they have a separate community. We have to work for them. Okay. Then goes for the fourth perspective, learning and growth perspective. When we talk about learning and growth perspective, we have to discuss in culture angle, leadership, how you're going to align, and what is the teamwork. Okay, learning and growth. This put together is called as the organization capital. Information definitely you need to have. Information is the knowledge. If you have proper information and you utilize the proper information properly, then that knowledge will be helpful for making different types of new innovative ways. And obviously, the employees, the human capital. If all these put together, that is human capital, information capital, and organization capital, that's the perspective you're going to focus based on learning. And so these are the four perspectives. Before going below, let me cover the above contents what we have. So almost have discussed many things over here. Just let me go for a fast glance. So from here, so we have done with this heading. So this will be like card. So you'll be feeding all the data and other things. Okay. Sole purpose of setting objectives is you need to convert the objectives to vision and vision. You just cannot keep it. Okay. Types of objectives, financial objectives. So if we talk about numbers, figures. So what are the financial performance target? In the next quarter, I want to show this as a profit. In the next quarter or the next dividend should be at least on some 10%, 10 paisa high before the earlier dividend. So I need to search some financial performance. So it may be increasing the annual revenue or increasing the earnings per share, okay, or profit margins increase to some fixed percentage, increasing the shareholder value, generating internal cash flows. That's all very important. Okay, that's just a list only. You can add any more if you want to. Then another angle, strategic objectives. Please remember when we are discussing about strategic management, we are dealing about strategic objective. When we define strategy, we may discuss about finance. Okay, finance is not our main objective. Strategy is our main objective. Among the strategy, we can talk about anything. Among that is what finance. Okay, so it's about the target outcome part. Whatever I do, so we were discussing all the strategy, gaining competitive advantage and sustainability and all. So if I talk about all these, I'm talking about the strength of the company. You agree with me? What is my company and how it can do it? So it's clearly defining about the strength of my company, how it is standing in the market, what is its competitive position. So we talk about Mahindra. In FMCG logistics, it stands in seventh place. So we're talking about the strength of the company. So what Mahindra and Mahindra could do so that it reaches the top five. It's not so very easy to reach the top five. But again, Mahindra and Mahindra will be striving to do it. It will be taking proper steps. Probably it will be increasing the customer service and other things related to logistics. Okay, so this is all happening. And what are the other points it could relate to? Winning a certain percentage of the market share. Kotak Mahindra. Okay. Remember Kotak Mahindra? So probably I'm just winning a certain percent of the market share. Okay. So probably I'm just winning a certain percent of the market share. Okay. So if you can please after the session over, you can please check what is Mahindra's and Mahindra's percent share in steel, because steel is main business, right? Because of steel only we have jeep, we have tar, we have scorpions and all, and achieving overall lower cost than competitors. If my cost is less, probably let me go for a small working cost price plus the profit will give you the selling price. If I try to lower the cost price, obviously the same amount of profit, the selling price will also be lower. Usually, profit will not fix it in absolute values, will fix it as 10% of cost price or 20% of cost price. This is how we fix it, right? So, if cost price is reduced by 1 rupee, obviously the selling price also will be reduced. Okay, so this is how it happens. So, if I try to, and again, if you talk about this cost price, we can talk about the whole cost sheet. Probably, if you're going to work as a cost controller or cost related job in your job, you'll work in overall cost. Okay. So achieving overall cost then competitors, you go for broader and better and technological capabilities than rivals, and you go for new and improved products, and you just make it stronger national and global sales. You just develop your business global. Well, obviously now happens that you have to bring a proper balance between finance and financial and strategic goal. Financial means we just say it's a long-term health and we try to survive. Okay. If you have money, if you have capital, then we can survive. That's about the financial objective. Okay. Today, I'm able to pay salary for my workers. Tomorrow, is it possible? I'm talking about today and tomorrow means this month and next month. Tomorrow is possible. Okay. Not only that's the problem, we have to talk about the gratuity also. Today is possible. After 5 years, it's possible to pay the gratuity for the workers. If suddenly somebody passes away, I need to pay the gratuity, right? The deceased employee. Probably I don't know how far you are aware. Big organization, they have to have a policy for paying gratuity. Okay, they need to have the proper calculation. They need to have a proper separate account called as escrow account. They have to properly invest in a scheme where suddenly they faces this gratuity related problem of paying pension something. They need to have a pension policy. They need to have a gratuity policy, and all the things have to be shown in the financial statement. Okay. And strategic objective, yes, we want to show or we want to stand in a competitive position. So that's about it. Either you go for the rise, which means what? You go for the next level or you sustain in the same level. Even for sustaining in the same level, we have to work for. Mahindra and Mahindra in FMCG logistics maintaining in seventh position. Obviously, whether it's planning for top five or not, it will be planning to sustain in top seven. Okay. Other notes and all you can casually go through. So balance scorecard. Just we are giving a small, broader idea. Now we'll go for the benefits. Is both strategic and financial objective is important. Definitely will track you what's your achievement and will give a balance to you. That's why the term itself is balance scorecard. It's not. You cannot say only learning and growth. You cannot say it's only customer perspective. You cannot say it's only internal business. You have to talk in all the four perspectives. So that's why the term is balance scorecard. BSC is quite a famous concept. Okay. So definition is a method. Probably you can make a note of this one. Probably you can expect related questions in one word. If not the big question, you can expect in one word. It's a method to link financial objectives to specific strategic objectives to drive from a company's business model. Beautiful lines. Actually, you're linking. See, financial objective is different, strategic objective is different, but there should be some link because both objectives are the organizations only. So you need to link this way. And how you're going to link? So this methodology is used where you link the financial to specific strategic objectives so that you give a proper definition of your business. So that's how you define your business model. Probably if you talk about balance scorecard on employees, depending on learning, employees is human capital. You remember the last area, learning and growth? Shall I turn over and we'll have a fast check over here? So that's an example. BSc on employees is an example. See, learning and growth, and we're talking about the human capital. Okay, so when we talk about this human capital, we are talking about the employees. Okay, now come back here. How we are going to balance this scorecard? Okay, balance scorecard. You give clear guidelines. What are the jobs and how the jobs are linked with the overall objectives. How can you make them most productive and how can you collaborate their achievements? Collaborative, how can you make them cooperate with the so basically, you know, this one, these two persons, they belong to this Harvard Business Group. They developed this concept, and it's quite a very famous concept. And what does it do? We have discussed all this. We'll go for short-term financial objectives. Oh, sorry, we go for long-term financial objectives. You're not worried about short-term financial objectives. Okay. Short-term means we plan for just 3 months or 1 year or 2 year. No, we'll just go for a longer period. Improve the organization goals. Apart from financial, we'll go for non-financial operational side also. Third perspective, internal business process. Okay. Incorporate the strategic planning technique. And it's a top-down approach. From the top, we go for the see, top means not about the chart. Usually we go, this is a top-down approach. From the management to the operational department. So this is what we call as a top-down approach. So this is a strategic map. It's a visual representation, gives a cause and effect. Yeah, beautiful. Let me explain this one alone, cause and effect. See, already we are okay with this chart, right? Cause and effect will go. Probably if I talk about, yeah, this one, innovation. Oh, sorry, don't want for innovation. I'll go for this one, customer management. Customer should not go for other brand. Okay, which means I need to retain my customers. If I get new customers are important. At the same time, old customers are very important. Because of the old customers, I might have got new customers. Okay, today's new customer will become tomorrow's old customer. Obviously, these are going to become old only in the sense that at one point of time, they may be looking for another brand. I should not leave them. Which means now link all these lines. I should not compromise on quality. Obviously, the customers will check whether I'm getting some 10 paise extra because of buying another brand. Okay, I buy 10 rupees toothpaste. Okay, with the same thing, etc., etc. I can get it for 9 rupees. Obviously, I may have many opportunities to jump for next because customer has their own rights to choose their product. So price, quality, how far is available? Okay. Again, as a customer, I check. If I go for buying a new product, okay, I check whether this will be available tomorrow. If this is not available tomorrow, why I'm going to buy this one? And obviously, I need to compete with the full brand. This brand is playing a very big. Okay. If you're going to your relatives or neighbors home or some function, okay, you're going to get them sweets. What sweets you're going to get them? In any local shop or very well-known shop? You go to that area and you find Adayanandabon over there. Okay. And you find some local sweet shop like which one you're going to choose? Obviously go for A to B. The reason is you don't know whether the sweet will be good or not. You need not taste also. If you see the brand name, you buy it. Okay. So you need to retain. See, retaining the customer is a strategy and it's an internal business process. But to retain, you need to understand what the customer expect. So it's a customer's first. You see, both are interlinked. You just take this as four different process or four different perspective, but everything is interlinked. Okay. So that's about this heading. Can you please go through? These are all extra points you can just have a look. Probably if you go for financial perspective, what we discuss is we'll talk about revenue, earnings, return on capital, return on investment, cash flow of the organization. If you talk about customer perspective, we'll talk about market share, how far the customer satisfaction will be there. So probably you might be asked to put a review or star rating and how far the customer is loyal. And if you go for internal business statistics, probably you'll go for the expectation, how you're going to achieve it, what is the internal business results and all. If you go for learning and growth perspective, obviously you're going to know how far you can manage the business. And not only that, the environment is changing, dynamic, and you have to adapt to that environment. Okay. And probably go for developing new skills and capabilities. Okay. Shall I continue? Let me finish off this topic. Okay. What are the steps involved? You just check what is your vision and mission. Then you identify the specific measures. Probably we are talking about this balance scorecard. So this specific measures will be related to the four perspective. Then you formulate and implement. Okay. And after this, please remember that step three says you have to go for the strategy mapping, which means you cannot do this independently. Four different perspectives are not four different, it's one perspective and four different angles. That one perspective is nothing but the organization. The organization should be seen in four perspectives. Okay. So you go for the strategic management and you probably go for establishing this quantitative measures and metrics. Probably we go for forecasting and we are going to fulfill that demand and all those things. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Can please go through. Okay, EVA, economic value addition. So we are going towards somewhat like profit and related terms. Driven responsibility accounting. That's about the heading 8.7. See, when we say profit is something not associated with the company itself. Okay. Losses, if a company earns profit, it's not mandated to give dividend, but it's mandated to give managerial remuneration. Okay, it's mandated to give bonus for the employees. So, how it is defined means is the surplus of revenue over cost available for distribution. And here we are talking about the dividends sold to the owners. Okay. Usually, when we talk about returns, we have two types of return. Okay. One is normal return to capital, which is the reward to the investors because we are using the, and one is what you call as the economic profit. So, you have any equations or something like that? Yeah, let me go directly over here. Probably you make it small problem like this one. All the values will be given. Cost of capital will be given or net profit or net operating profit before tax will be given. So tax amount will be given. You have to calculate after tax and have to calculate it. Okay. So economic value addition is how you're going to measure the economic profit. We'll take the net operating profit after tax minus the cost of capital. So obviously you know, right? What do you mean by you might have done in F1 this concept. So cost of capital is capital employed into weighted average cost of capital. So WACC. So this cost of capital, when reduced from net operating profit after tax, you'll get something called as value addition. So value addition means you have added something extra value to that. Okay. So this is how economic profit is defined. So what do you mean by economic profit? Now let me come here. is a pure surplus available after all inputs, even the capital, have been paid for. Okay, which means to whom I have to give all the amounts. I have given everything. So what's the ultimate amount now left out? That's what we call as the valuation. Okay. If you talk about Companies Act or if you talk about any other provision, it is not mandatorily saying that you have to pay to the owners. Am I right? Final dividend is something which the directors propose and it's paid in the general meeting. Okay. But what the economic profit definition says is if it is a liability that you have to pay to everybody, even because of their amount only you're doing this business. So, what are the things you have to pay, including the capital? After all these, there will be some amount which will be directly left for the organization's name, right? That's what we call as economic. It represents a purer and more reliable measure of profit. That is a better measure of performance. So, just seeing the accounting profit, don't say the business is doing well, growing well. No, you have to go for the economic. Okay. So it's referred to as the rent or what you call as the economic rent. Okay. Okay. So this term is defined by this person, Stephen, not person, it's a consulting firm, Stephen Hart, Stephen Swart and Company. Okay. Two main advantages. Let me go over here. Over accounting profit as a performance measure. So it's more demanding performance discipline for managers. So when we talk about managers, they completely go for defining this as the strategy and how we develop this one. Okay. It's allocation of capital. So we have different businesses and how we are going to show which one is growing in a better way. So depending on the economic profit value, we'll say which company is earning more economic profit, that company is doing good business. Okay, so this is how we measure. Okay. So the